Hey everybody, what's going on? Emo Tempest here, back with another deck profile. Very excited to share this one with you. This is a bit of pet project of mine for a little bit. Really wanted to showcase the strength of this Gal. I think he was, so when we saw this Gal for sure, he was definitely very hyped. But considering the way the meta turned out, I feel like he kind of fell between the cracks, or between the couch cushions, and I didn't like that very much. I still think he has a lot of power and a lot of threat. Obviously, considering his main effect, which is his first one, Gal is reduced by one for each monster you control. You need a little time to set up. Leaving this for me to think to give you this as a mid-range deck, which I guess we're not really seeing in the meta right now. But it does have a good way to kind of deal with aggression as well as make it through the end of the game. So Gao is the focus. This is a fire water monster deck. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the deck, the combos, the cards, and obviously flex picks as always. So, and obviously if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. It means a lot. I know a lot of viewers are not subscribed, so it would mean a lot if you did. But yeah. Anyway, we got we got two 3-cost Maros. I like this guy. He's cool. Kind of helps with the synergy of the deck. So we don't need to attack right away. We kind of want to set up a turn where we want to attack. Putting him on 2 to draw and discard for a really good turn is really essential. So he kind of he made his way in here. I also liked him. I can't remember what deck I played that was playing him. But I enjoyed him, and so he kind of found his way into this one as well. The other forwards are pretty straightforward. I think you have your Fiend, kind of just a problem card for your opponent. Same thing with Rug, great way to get in 2 or 3 attacks a turn. We have Realm, our main monster setup card. We'll get into the monsters anyway, but we have several targets, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Felthanos, very good anti-aggro card, surprisingly, which I feel like a lot of people overlook. He does have a second effect, which is when he's put from the field of the break zone, choose 2 forwards, steal them 9k. And then, again, the EX burst thing, your opponent will think twice from activating him, which is really great. We kind of always want to hold on to him when we are pushing for game, and we have all the monsters set up, and that's where he lives. Gal, I already talked about, was kind of the whole point of building this deck. And so we made it possible to bring him out as fast as possible, and we love sending things to the bottom, because who knew that putting him at the bottom of the deck makes them really hard for them to come back every now and then. We have the Demon, which is probably one of my favorite legendaries out of Opus 20. This guy's a problem for any deck. Just RFG the break zone, kill something. You're playing monocolor, he's a problem. You're playing, a job deck, or whatever fancy Warrior of Light deck, something like that, he kills him. He's a problem all the way through and through. I'd like to pump him to 3, but for now, 2 has been playing very well. Summons are simple. We have 2 Brynhilders with aggro bring back, something to pop and shift up the speed of your deck is very helpful. This could be replaced, but again, we'll talk about flex picks later. Unicorns. This is another one that I thought fell through the cracks, with category 6 being so strong last set. The problem with that was that they only played forwards and backups, right? So there was never any need for such a fantastic summon. So I thought about it more. It was really great in this list, because we like to dull things, mainly Gao. He makes a forward and AK. So being able to, and again, if it needed to be said, you get both effects if you have a category 6 forward. Our main forwards are Realm and Gao, both from FF6. We also have, obviously, the Fiend and the Demon, so very, very, very live all the time. You're more than likely to always get both effects. Activate a forward, draw a card, and then choose a forward of 4 less your opponent controls. You return it to its owner's hand. So again, this helps a lot when you're pushing for game, as well as kind of just value. Can we just talk about that? It's very helpful. So we're only playing 2 Amats, mainly because we can't fit a third one yet. But I feel comfortable enough knowing that this deck can kind of go well into the mid range. You're pitching them anyway against aggro early on, so you don't need them. Your biggest fear is running into a Neo X-Death, but you guys probably know your matchups as well as I do, when you're at least at locals anyway. So you know when to expect it or whatever, right? You're not going to see it if they're playing ice, water ice, or ice lightning, or wind. So you can save your mods for there, but in anything earth related, a mod has to be saved for the Neo X Death. Even if you don't see it, you kind of should anticipate it. Always count the hand and the value there, because the Neo X Death will crush you, will make this very unfair. I'm not saying it's not saying it's not winnable, but it is it's bad. Monsters we're gonna run through real quick. Goblin package. We have the 3 searchers, 1 hasty one, and the backup. The Evray, Worm, Atomos, 2 Tomberry, 2 Hippocampus, and 2 Phoenix. The goblins are pretty self-explanatory. We'll get into the combos in a bit. The Evray and the Atomos are the mid-range first picks. If you're fighting something more aggressive, you'd always go Blue Worm Goblin, so you get value and some kind of protection, which is why it's important. The only time you substitute Tomberry for Worm is if they can't, like if your 6K can't check it, right? And also if you're not going to get Dull Frozen. It's complicated, but Tomberry is very threatening. The Hippocampus is your late game, finisher. We're playing 2 because we don't really have a searcher for it. We're kind of always, looking to draw into it. Again, this deck cuts through the deck pretty quickly, and draws a lot relatively fast. So seeing it's not a problem, what I always worry about is 1 hitting the damage, and then I don't get to do this. So that's why we play 2. And I think 3 would be just overkill, so I'm not worried about it at that point. Same thing with the Phoenix. Phoenix is such a great one of removal early on, and it's also a great deterrent for like aggro decks because they can't interact with it right away. And he should be able to block 1 thing at least, right? Pretty straightforward. True Haspel, you always need this whenever you're playing anything fire and like damage dealing. Iridia's still out there. There's tons of cards. You never really know what can't be reduced, or it says like make that damage 0, and so True Haspel has to fit in here. Goblin, I told you it's mainly for the Goblin package. I was playing 2 Vermilion Birds, but I found that sometimes I didn't see them, so being able to search a fire backup that gets us a card out of the deck so we don't draw color like off color later helps. And it's just a great way to fix the backups is all. Like I said, the deck has a lot of that synergy where you're getting cards out of the deck. You start with Realm, you get Worm, Goblin into the backup, play it, get into the rug, and then you're gelling, right? You're literally just taking 4 cards out of your deck. You're good. The Vermilion Bird's another one that I thought was great. I don't know if people were playing this one as often as I am, but like that first effect we liked. Choose something. If it dies, it goes to the RFG it. But the second part is just a great finisher. Send 3 backups, choose a forward, steal them 10k. It doesn't even have to be Vermilion Bird. Like you can get rid of 3 other backups, reset up if you're able to, right? Like in a game, and then do it again. It's great. I love this card. It's I've closed out a couple games with this one. It's very threatening. I don't use the first effect a lot. I'll be honest. It's not saying I won't need to. It's just I don't. With Evray, it's a little more easier to tolerate because you can make something RFG and then Evray a backup, so you have that 10k threat always live. Once you're set up, of course. But just something to think about. We're playing 2 Lena. The other problem we had too is when we're pushing for game, we always run into the nasty EX bursts, as you've seen all over Worlds, and pretty much every stream. It always favors one person, and hopefully with these 2, the Felthanos and the Lena, it's a deterrent enough for most people. I will be honest, I've seen it's gone really well for me. I won't lie. The Lena has drawn us several cards. The Lena's actually won us a game. I was handless. Wasn't able to pitch for Tomberry for the last attack, but because I triggered an EX burst at the second attack, I was able to. My opponent didn't realize what was happening, and so I, was able to steal a game because I drew an extra card from Lena on my turn while I was attacking, and allowed me to play for Tomberry. So Edgar's a fantastic card from the set, probably the second best backup, close to Larsa. He just allows so many plays. Edgar into Lena, color fixed. Edgar into Goblin, search. We don't have, or Edgar into Worm, draw, right? Very simple stuff. The best part is that if we manage to draw the Evray and the Atamos, Edgar fixes us. The problem I'm sure any of my fellow monster deck builders have realized over the past is when you draw them and you don't have the color fixture, they kind of just get pitched instantly. This time we don't have. There's a world, and I'll be honest, it doesn't always happen, right? Because we're fishing for different things at different points in the game, so sometimes you have to make sacrifices. But when you're able to, you can play the Edgar for either Atamos or Evray, and then break the Edgar for either Atamos or Evray if you need to. These cards are not like, again, it also depends on the matchup and a lot of stuff, like in a lot of situations, but you are normally, going, if you have time, you go Evray Atamos, not a big deal, but if not, like I said, it's Blue Worm Goblin. Simple, straight. But yeah, unfortunately for both of these guys, so Lena's back at 2, which was something I wanted to say. I was playing 3, but it got cloggy. We did like the EXpers. Every now and then we draw a card, sure. But the main thing was we don't really have any 3 or less forwards to bring back. Morrow, sure. But it's not that important. I'll get into why we're not playing Furion in here in a little bit. But yeah, it's not helpful. So we kind of brought it down to 1. To 2. The same thing with the Edgar. We don't have too many cards, too many other things to play from the second effect. It's usually probably just a Worm, Atamos, or Evray. It's kind of just what he's there for. Shawl Engine's one of to kind of help facilitate things, but this is more of a flex pick. You can kind of put a batter on, or maybe something else you might like on, a preference for yourself. And we have the the main backups are going to be Sarah to fix your colors and Larsa to get your pieces, right? Larsa gets us everything but the Morrow, and Sarah gets us Edgar, Lena, and then it's just go from there. All right, now the combos. Combos are very straightforward. We talked about doing the Worm, whatever, and get the value. So Realm into those gets you 2 cards back. Realm is effectively 1 CP. We talked about the Vermilion Birds. You can make something go to the RFG. Every will activate it back up. You're good. The main ones, some of the other ones are going to be Demon and Rug. So comes in Demon. If you have Rug, give him haste for strike. He attacks. That's your first board clear. You can deal 7k to whatever type, and then attack again, deal 7k, or comes in, deal 7k, attacks, deal 7k more. Now, same thing with Goblin. Demon with haste is pretty nasty. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but yeah, when he comes in, I'm sure you have actually if you played FF6 decks. Interceptor's the thing, but it's been fun for me. So those are your good board clears. When you have this out, Goblins are also very threatening. Goblins and Brynhilders are your AKs used to, kill something, draw a card. When you don't have the haste, though, you have Demon Hippocampus. That should be enough. When you're going for board clears, right? So 7 or 8k based on job or element, and then Hippocampus comes in, deals the rest, and then starts attacking. Just a couple. Those are pretty much the main ones. The other one is obviously just the Gal one I think I mentioned earlier, but it's Dull Gal, play Unicorn, activate Gal again, swing your other forwards, like make these Goblins forwards or Evray, have them swing, and then you can either leave Gal up to do it on their turn as blockers, or you can just continue to push for game. Yeah, those are the main combos. Matchups, like I said, it's pretty tough when you're up against Earth. I'm not saying it's impossible. You can bully them down. You can try to get in there faster, but it's tough, especially with Neo Exdeath. If you don't have the Ahmad, it's just game over. Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. You can do well into a lot of things. You probably just straight up lose into Wind, like Mono Wind or something like that, like just because they, best control decks in the game. Mid-range suffers. But all in all, this deck's been testing really well. I hope you guys will give it a try. Please make sure to leave your comments and feedbacks in the description below. Deck list will be there as well. And as always, leave me a comment or a question, and I'll be answered as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, this is my Firewater list featuring Gal, the 21 Legendary. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you try it out, and take care.